Hi there, so we've got a Mark III Golf here. It's 1992, pre-OBD2, so it's OBD1. This is how you change ignition starter switch, just behind the barrel in there. So we first off start with taking the steering wheel off, take the centre nut off, and then we're going to use a puller to pull the shaft off. It's a little spring, and then we can pull this housing out, and then we can get to the switch. Take out the little wires just here. So taking them off, and we can put that to the side. It's non-airbag as well, so we don't need to worry about any airbags. Obviously the ignition's off just now, so there's not going to be any live to the horn switches. So we first need to get into here for your big nut, and what the size of that is a 24mm. So we'll crack that off and we'll have a look behind it. So first cracked it off, and then we can get that by hand. It's always a bit harder doing it without two hands. So as you can see there, we've got a nut that'll come off. I'll just put that up on the dashboard just now. Straighten that steering wheel. I'll do it. There we are. Straighten the steering wheel as best we can. Turn the ignition off, and we'll just wobble the steering wheel, and it will come off. There we are. Let's put that down there just now. So we've got to take these 3 screws out, which hold your indicator stock and your wiper stock as well. So we'll get on with that just now. So the reason why we're doing this is previously we had a crank no start issue. We went down the route of changing distributor cap and distributor rotor arm, as it didn't look too good anyway. Even I think they are original. Bear in mind the car has only done 56,000 miles. 2 previous owners before myself, one old guy for 29 years, and a young guy for the remaining time. I've had the car since October. So what we'll do is take these screws out here, and it's a bit dirty, so I'll give that a wee clean up as well. But what I've worked out is that it's the starter switch just behind the ignition barrel. What that does is that doesn't send the signal to the ECU to turn on the coil. So basically you're cranking away, you're still getting your fuel, still getting everything else as usual, but you're just not getting the signal wire to turn on the 12 volt to the coil. The way we worked that out is obviously checking voltages and stuff like that, and amperages across things, but we ran a live wire from the battery 12 volt, and turned the ignition, and it started. Obviously you need the ignition to crank the car over and start it, but obviously for ignition for your spark plugs you need your coil to be live as well. So we weren't getting any spark, we were getting fuel, and obviously we had compression. So everything was alright in that front, but obviously we just weren't getting ignition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the 2 plugs on the left hand side and the 2 plugs on the right hand side, but they're down the bottom. So we'll take those out, take these off, and then we'll be able to get to this collar here. This collar we need to take off. There's a little spring retaining behind that, and then we can literally slide this off as well. As you can see here, 3 screws are out, 2 plugs here, and I've got 2 plugs just there as well. So this comes off as one unit. It can also split. So previously the wiper stock had been broken off just about here, so we changed that. Obviously the indicator side was okay. So you see the indicator side looks nice and new and roughly about the 56,000 miles kind of age, and obviously this is off a car with higher mileage. Tried to clean it, won't clean up any more than that, which is a shame. So we'll just take this off here, and that just comes off, just giving it a wee wiggle. There we are. So there we are. So if you need to ever change that, you can just get into it just here. Alright. So watch your 3 screws as well. So this is the collar here we need to get off. So I've got my puller, we'll try and get that off just now, and we'll give it a go. So 2 pairs of hands are a lot easier than one. Sadly I've not got a proper puller, but I've got a wheel bearing puller that I'm going to use anyway. So as you can see, I'm just putting a pair of water pump pliers and a cable tie just to hold that and grip it in place, and then we'll get the different teeth on the puller and we'll get this pulled off as well. So as you can see here, I've got the puller just set on the jaws of the water pump pliers. It's probably the easiest way to do it, or you can hire obviously the right puller which clips in and then pulls it out. It's so much easier, but we're doing the best we can in a horrible, lovely Scottish day. So we'll get this off, 17mm here, hopefully we can get this off very quickly. So as you can see here, we're pulling it slowly, so I need to try and get that before it falls off, but we're getting it off. See it coming up the collar, and then we'll restart that again. It's easy to do that. Easy to do that off camera. As you can see, we've been able to get that off. So we'll just put that down to the one side just now. We also have a little spring here, and then this literally slides off, but we've got a little screw just down here. What I've done is I've cut a slice in it so we can get it out with a screwdriver, and that will release everything from coming out. What I will say is, we need to do is turn your ignition on. That'll stop your steering lock pin going in, and if it goes in, you're gubbed. You need to try and get that released so that you can get this column off the car. See here, there we are. Finger tight now. Get a little screw up there. So this is ready just to pull out. The only thing you've got left is this little switch here. There's 2 clips, top and bottom, and this will slide out. So that's them released. You just slide this out, and you can see that's your multi-plug there that does cover your coil and your starter and stuff like that. So look at this little keyway here. This little keyway here is actually where your steering lock goes on. You can see this little pin here, and then what we need to do is relieve this switch from getting out. You see it's not the best, pins are a bit jetty looking, they've kind of delaminated themselves and stuff like that. It's a inferior product from the get-go. So take that little Phillips head screw and that barrel will just slide out of there. So we've got that little screw removed, as you can see. So it's looking down into the barrel just now. So that little keyway there is what gets turned when you turn the key, and that's what starts the car. Looking at the starter switch, that's it there. So this little barrel here turns, and that's what makes contact with these different pins from inside this little housing. As you can see here, it's delaminated itself, so that's probably what's causing the issue of the crank no start. It's just not sending enough power. It's probably, you can see there's a bit of a hole in between. Don't know if the pins on the plug are strong enough to actually count that as one, so we'll just swap that over just now. So it's a new one here. It looks basically the same. I got this from Just Campers. It's a JP Group part. That's the part number just on the front of it there. What I'll do is I'll link that in the description. I got it for £15.50 from eBay. That one there was $7.99 from Amazon. It's terrible, really bad product. It's lasted 2 days. Absolute piece of rubbish. So we'll get this plugged back in and we'll get it started, and it'll probably start first under the key. Before we start building everything back up, what we'll do is we'll just start the vehicle up based on obviously this new ignition switch being in place. So we'll turn the key. It feels a bit stiffer to turn than the last time as well. So runs and starts, turns off, runs and starts as well. So that's even better. At least we know it's working before we start building everything back up. So you can see we built everything back up. Our little screws back in just under here. We've got our little spring here, and we're going to put this back on as well. So the best way to do that is just an undersized socket, and we'll just chap round about this race here and then just push that in as hard as we can, and then we'll get the ignition, the wipers and indicators built back up. crank the steering wheel down, top that up to spec as well, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. So that's everything back up, got 3 screws in as well, everything's solid and sound, indicators, and you've got a wiper stock there as well. So just need to get our steering wheel on in centre, and then we're ready to rock and roll. So as easy as basically getting it where it looks centralised, if not we can take it back off, and there we are. A big nut just in the centre, 24mm nut, and we'll get that torqued down, get the horn on that back on, the centre of the steering wheel, and then we're ready to rock and roll. So everything built back up, we'll see if it starts. Starters first turn of the key, all sorted.